we've had a mystery on our hands this week. The scholars in this room are the crew of the mighty ship, the Envisioneer. While in search of an ancient treasure, we were marooned on an island, and a key part of our navigational map. A key part of our navigational map went missing. Of the entire crew, we consider 4 suspects. Today, you will hear the evidence collected against Dr. Smart and Shipwright Neff.
During our investigation, Dr. Smart examined the crew for injuries and noticed many of the crew had fractured or injured limbs. The supply for splinters and slings were used up to treat the injured.
We learned how to do a sugar tongue, elbow, and forearm splint, a figure of 8 splint, and a sand splint. During this time, it was concluded that Chief Stewart had a collapsed lung. We made a model of the lung to see how they worked and to see what happened when a person has a collapsed lung. After the shipwreck, a head count was done to ensure all Envisioneers were accounted for. It was discovered that some of the crew had gone missing. We learned Shipwright Neff and First Mate Sidney Young were missing, and on a part of the island that only our robots could access.
So we had to program our robots to follow a special series of steps to retrieve the missing crew members. While on the island, there was a bad storm and flooding occurred on parts of the island. It was up to us to build a bridge that could support the MBOT.
While rebuilding the crew's living quarters and exploring the island, one of the deckhands started experiencing fatigation and was unable to work. Dr. Smart concluded that the deckhand was experiencing symptoms related to the cardiovascular system. To learn more about the heart's functions, we dissected calf hearts.
While Neff and Young were being escorted back to the ship by the robot, Young was bit by a snake. We were able to find out that Young was bit by a Malayan pit viper, which is a hemotoxic snake and affects the blood of the body.
Evidence at the crime scene included blood spatter. To replicate the blood spatter, we dropped fake blood from different heights to determine how far up the blood at the crime scene could have dropped.
The fake blood was dropped from 12 inches, 30 inches, and 66 inches. After comparing our drops to the blood spatter at the crime scene, we concluded that the blood came from 30 inches.
A strange white powder was also found at the crime scene that had to be analyzed. We looked at the different characteristics of the mystery powder and the unknown powders we had on the ship, and concluded the mystery powder was cornstarch.
Fingerprints were also found on an overturned cup left at the crime scene. We dusted for fingerprints using cocoa powder and clear tape. We had the fingerprints of all the crew and discovered that the fingerprints left behind belonged to Dr. Smart.
Based on all the evidence our STEM group has submitted, we believe that Dr. Smart and Shipwright Neff are guilty of stealing the ancient map. The final 2 interrogations were performed on Dr. Smart and Shipwright Neff.
Dr. Smart denied knowing anything or having any involvement in the crime, but Shipwright Neff admitted everything. All of the evidence we found will be used to put them on trial.